Good evening, folks. We are calling to order today's meeting, Monday, March 4th, 2024, the regular scheduled meeting of the Lancaster Select Board. Reminder to folks that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast thanks to our friends at Sterling-Lancaster Community Television. We will start with a roll call. Ms. Turner.
I'm here.
Mr. Allison.
Here.
And Mr. Kerrigan is here. So we're all here, ready to go. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of February 5th, 2024.
I'll offer a motion to approve the minutes of February 5th, 2024.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr.
Aye.
Allison? Mr. Kerrigan? Aye. The minutes are approved. All right, now we have a scheduled appearance about leveraging artificial intelligence to streamline government records. The appearance is none other than Mr. Allison himself.
Mr.
So I
Chair,
turn the
is it
floor.
okay if I take the screen over
I
here?
turn the floor over to, well, the screen, that's up to Kate, but yes, it's fine by me.
All right. Can everyone see this okay? I'm assuming? All right. Can we maybe move the participants out of the way and maybe click that one? Yeah. So, me being excited to give this presentation is pretty an understatement. This is something that I've been working on for months, both as a select board member and in my role as my day job. So this entire board and myself are very passionate about making sure that residents, I think someone's trying to get in here, that residents all have information needed to make informed decisions about votes or participation in local government. And it's something that I think we all care about. I'm in a unique position in my industry, and I saw an opportunity to build something that I think, that I believe could help the town. And this is an example use case. So what's exciting to me about this, and what I hope you all find exciting, is this doesn't exist anywhere else. Not in the state, not in the country. What you're seeing today is proprietary technology that my company uses and leveraging public documents to improve the experience for residents. So I'm very excited to present that today. So first, let's get some disclosures. Two things are true at the same time. I am an elected select board member of Lancaster. I'm also an engineering director at an AI development company called Molecula. There's no financial interest between the town of Lancaster or the company that I work for. What I'm going to go through today is an example use case, and it uses only publicly available information, everything that any resident in town or anybody in the country, probably even the world, can get to from our Civic Plus website. If anybody has any questions, you can see the Massachusetts Conflict of Interest summary at the bottom of this PowerPoint. I forgot to mention to the board, to Alex and to Steve, this is just a couple slides, maybe 9-10 slides, and then there's a presentation at the end. I'd like to ask any questions be waited till the end. There'll be an interactive demo that I'm hoping that both of you will appreciate. All right. So let's talk about the existing problem. So there is a significant gap between government officials and the information that they know in residents. And bridging that gap is inherently problematic. So, for example, Steve, if he was here, and Alex, if you asked us, what is DCAM? What is the override? Are we building a new high school and why? What can you tell me about the North Lancaster MOU? We'd have very informed decisions for you. But I can guarantee you if we went to Luther Burbank or Mary Rowlandson and grabbed a random parent and asked them, what their thoughts are on the a DCAM RFP that was sent out, they wouldn't have an answer. And that's probably appropriate. But what's the impact of that information gap? So most residents are uninformed of local happenings. And what that leads to is residents, for the most part...
We can't understand you. The audio is terrible.
AI will fix that. Do you want to come sit here closer to the owl?
I think I'm closer to the owl. Kelly, can you hear me okay?
I can, yes, I can hear you perfect, thanks.
All right. So I'll try to speak up a little bit. I apologize if I'm screaming. So what that leads to is when residents don't have a full picture or they're not able to get a full picture is important votes come up. And whether that's an election, whether that's a town meeting, whether that's a rezone, an override, voting on a high school budget, it's very difficult for residents to keep informed on local happenings. So what's the goal? The goal is to make information more available and easily consumable so residents can get quickly informed. So what's going on locally and do I care? And where can I get more information should I have questions? I don't want to put words in Steve or Alex's mouth, but if I had a magic wand right now and I could wave it and get anything I wanted from the residents of Lancaster, they would have an answer to 2 questions. What's going on right now? Is there a town meeting tomorrow? Is there a rezone vote tomorrow? And what's happening in the town recently? Did we pass a rezone of North Lancaster? Did we pass an override? And what does that mean? So that's what I would love to know or love to have if I could wave my magic wand. So today, how residents stay informed on local matters. The truth is, our select board meetings can be rather long. There's many meetings throughout the week, and I'm not pointing any fingers, and if I did, I'd point them at myself. Sometimes we can be long-winded, believe it or not. The truth is that the process that all boards and committees use can be lengthy. Discussion, remembering history, looking things up, and meetings can be 3, 4, 5 hours long. So we have to ask ourselves, is it reasonable to ask residents to go to 3, 4, 5 meetings a week that can be 3 to 4 hours each? I mean, that's basically a full-time job. So that's the first way for residents to get information. The next is, now tell me if you've heard this one before, social media. Social media is an excellent place to get information. Unfortunately, social media today contains a lot of misinformation and or disinformation. Misinformation is unfortunate. I heard that they want to tear down the memorial school, right? I mean, is that true? Disinformation is the real sad part. Disinformation is narrative-based reporting of inaccurate information. And it really makes elected officials' role hard, because not only do we have to be active in helping residents understand that this information is not accurate, but we have to cover all of the places that it comes out. And finally, residents can ask questions to town staff or elected officials, folks like Kate, me, or Alex, but we have a town of 8,000 people, and that just doesn't scale. As fantastic as Mandy is in the town clerk's office, it's not reasonable for her to be answering questions all day long, and also a lot of residents don't know what to ask. So let's talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow, what it can look like. AI-powered applications which create small, weekly summaries of relevant town information and then post that to social media for individuals to consume. So, first of all, AI. Big scary word, right? ChatGPT. Everybody's heard it, everybody's used it, everybody's heard all of the horror stories. The technology you're going to see today is not ChatGPT. It is retrieval augmented generation, which RAG for short. What is special about RAG and why it's very useful for our use case is ChatGPT is very broad. It uses everything. Also, it trains on data that is no more than 2 years old, or it doesn't have information up to about 2 years, which means that it doesn't have local current events. So in the RAG model, we just use only our town documents, only our transcripts, only our agendas, only our minutes. And if anybody wants to know, in Lancaster, I have found about 8,000 public documents. That includes agendas, minutes, transcripts of all of these fantastic meetings. And that is the seed for this gathering of information. So you're not going to get information on Lancaster, Pennsylvania. You're not going to get information on Lancaster, Wisconsin, if there is one. You're going to get just information on this town. Next is something that I think we all should be passionate about, and it was a little bit of an aha moment for me as I was going through this exercise. Everybody remembers what a bibliography is, right? In my experience, everybody spends way too much time arguing what they call facts, right? Like, I'm getting out of that. right? I'm getting out of facts, and instead of arguing what's a fact and what's not a fact, I'm going to show my work, right? So if I say, we need an override in Lancaster because of increased municipal expense, I'm going to show you where I got that information from. You cannot believe me if you want, that's okay, but I'm going to show my work. And I'd encourage anybody who reads anything anywhere to ask somebody to show your work. And I bet if each of you think about the news sources you go to and who you get your information from, are they showing their work? I believe the future is about getting back to bibliographies. I think it was the Greeks who invented them. And let's just show our work. And if we want to disagree with something that Kate says as an educated professional who's been doing this a long time, you can. But we know that it's in our annual town report from 2024. So those are the AI summaries. A website is also needed. So let's say that we go to social media and we see 15 things that have been happening in Lancaster in the last week. For the most part, residents aren't going to care about that. But there might be something in there they do care about, that one thing. Maybe they live next to Bob Turkey's farm and they want to know about DCAM, and they're going to care deeply about that. So now they know about it. If they hadn't seen a social media post that talked about DCAM, they wouldn't know it was even happening. Maybe they care about the budget. Maybe they're very passionate about making sure that all the ones and zeros are counted and Kate can use her abacus correctly. So when you see that it is budget season, you're going to be able to jump on and ask additional follow-up questions, right? So A, what's happening? Do I care, and where can I go for more information? So this is not a lesson in artificial intelligence, but I want to dispel a few myths. So AI in all its forms is not about being perfect. AI is about being better than you were yesterday. And our bar for being better than yesterday is one more resident who knows a little bit more about what's going on in town. That's our bar. AI does not create an answer to your question. AI does find the best existing answer to your question. What does that mean? So this is kind of, I think, where people get lost in AI. So the best example I have to describe how AI works, especially in the RAG use case, is if you asked AI what 2 plus 2 is, it doesn't actually know how to add numbers. It will actually search to see what 2 plus 2 equals, and it will find you the answer. So if in the history of the world no one ever answered what 2 plus 2 is, the AI will not know the answer. If somebody said 2 plus 2 is 3, it's going to say, hey, 2 plus 2 is 3, right? That's where we get this concept of hallucinations, which is, AI is giving you crazy answers to weird questions. So in our use case, we're not going to have to worry about that because it's going to be based on just Lancaster's documents. Now that everybody's an expert in AI, what's the solution? 3 simple steps. Every Friday, all of our new public records go into an AI application. Every Friday, AI generates valuable yet brief summaries from the public records. That is the what happened in this last week. And then it'll post those summaries to social media. And if people want to read them, great. If they don't, that's okay too. And what happens when they have deeper questions? Someplace they can go to ask questions about that information. Not ask questions about what the best chocolate chip cookie recipe is, right? Lancaster. I want to know about Lancaster. I want to know Lancaster the last week, the last year, the last decade. Tell me about the history, if there's any historians in the room, the history of Lancaster. All right. So, welcome to the demo. Everyone still see my screen okay? Mm-hmm. All right. Tell me if you've seen this before. This is called Facebook. So this is a page that I put together. Most important thing you should take away from this page that's active live, anybody on the line that want to go check it out, is that in the intro it says, this is not affiliated with the town of Lancaster. This is an AI-generated page, nothing to do with the town. I did it myself, right? So I just happened to do everything that we talked about over the last few months. So if you navigate to this page, you can see all of our summaries. I'm sure everyone's actively on their phone going to this right now. But let's take a look. This is where I think we all need to come together. So last week, I'll leave this up on the screen and I'm not going to read it. But some people may look at this and go, wow, that's a lot of information. I'm not going to read that. So I've timed myself multiple times. Reading all of these bullets takes 2 minutes. 2 minutes of time. Now, I understand if folks think that's too much, but I'm optimistic that there'll be lots of people who will spend 2 minutes a week to understand what's going on in Lancaster. And this is about, I don't know, maybe 12, 15 meetings. It was actually over the last 2 weeks, but it's a tremendous amount of information, and we can go through all of it. You can see Commission on Disability has a lot going on. You can see that the MCOP Local 203 Police CBA documents were posted. Well done, Everett. Clerk's office announcements, CPA, and what's going on with the CPA. All right, so now what are we passionate about? What do we want to learn about? So if we look back last week, the week before, this is Kate's favorite time of year, putting words in her mouth. Let's talk about the Lancaster fiscal year 25 budget. Does everybody have it? I got my copy with me. This is the budget. So I'm sure everyone is familiar with the Lancaster website. Let's go read the budget. Lancaster budget. Great. All right, that's the fiscal year 07 budget. I don't think that's the one I want. That's our website today. So I have put together a different type of website. So this is a RAG AI solution, which is going to reference all of our 8,000 documents. If there's any techies listening, all 8,000 documents have been chunked, embedded, vectorized, and we will query them with a nearest neighbors algorithm to understand the answers, finding answers to our questions. So let's ask it a question. Summarize the Lancaster Town fiscal year 25 budget. Did I spell all that right?
No.
Of course I didn't. And we're going to go back 2 months because we know you've been hard at work here. Now, this is an interactive demo. This is actually happening on my laptop right now, and I'm going to be really optimistic that there's no problems with the demo. And here's the answer in real time. Looks like it's getting cut off. Let me just make my screen a little bit bigger here. Let's see, informative process, reduction in 3 full-time employees, strategic planning, ARPA grant funds. So 36,000 decrease in municipal school expenses, is that right? It looks like education expenses in general are projected to increase 434,678.
Right around there.
Right around there, okay. And we have got our budget of 28 million. So, first step, isn't that neat? Now, where did that information come from? So you can see this is an audio transcript of a select board meeting from January 22nd, 2024. Here is Budget Master. Let's go check our work. So if we wanted to actually go read the budget, it's fully accessible right there. Great. So if you don't believe the AI application, show your work. So let's see, how about summarize and list in detail the differences between the fiscal year 24 budget and fiscal year 25 budget. Summarize and list in detail the differences. Now we're going to go back a year because obviously fiscal year 24 was last year. I'm going to have to scroll a little bit here. So obviously everyone is very engaged about the budget from last year to this year. But if you wanted to understand the differences, this is the place you can go to get information. Now, what is novel about this? AI is not novel. Public documents aren't novel. RAG is not novel. What's novel is a mindset that we're going to take our public records, we're going to make them in our best effort, easily accessible and consumable by residents, with a hope that 2 minutes a week is not too much to ask. That's my vision, is that we can invest that time for the goal of when we have elections, when we have votes, that it's easier for each and every resident to participate. Now, I'll say this, that this is not a silver bullet itself. There are lots of residents that don't have access to the internet. that we need to care about. We need to make sure that we find ways to reach them. But today, this type of tool, leveraging AI, will help reach more residents, in my opinion, getting them educated going forward. So, let's have a little fun, if we have a couple minutes here. Alex, what would you like to know about Lancaster? Now, I can't guarantee you that this is going to have everything. I don't know what question you're going to ask, but I'm going to try to get you an answer. What would you like to know about? Would you like to know about the cemeteries, the historical cemeteries in Lancaster? Would you like to know about, I don't know, something historical? Planning board meeting?
I was just reading the budget, so what are the three, what are the three positions that were reduced in the budget? 2025.
All right, let's give this a go. I sure hope that information's in that document, Kate.
Everything's in there.
There you go.
Correct.
Has the added benefit of being right.
Fact check.
Any other, we want to fact check? So.
No, I said that's the fact check. There's the live fact check. It's
Okay.
the same.
Steve, what would you like to know about Lancaster?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I feel like I know everything.
Yeah? Something historical?
Does Steve carry on list?
No, but let's not ask that question. People can find that on their own. Can I answer questions about like population growth in the last?
So if it's in our public records, want to try that?
Yeah, voting.
And list, what was that, voting results?
Yeah. Or like, how many people came out to vote,
Voting turnout?
Yeah.
which I know is not population.
No, it's not. But
It's a fun little,
We're going to see if we get it. Memorize and list in detail the voter, Lancaster, voter turnout over time. All right, we're going to go look at every document, all of them, and list in detail.
here a while.
Let's go find out. Well, the nearest
Or
neighbor
not.
searches are actually pretty darn good. I can see that we're accessing the 2000 annual town report.
Wow. Sad numbers, by the way, folks.
How they got better.
They tend to get better over time.
so smart.
Wow.
Interesting how May 12th and May 2021, I mean, for 2014,
May 9th
same
is a
exact
good day for
number.
ours.
2021,
All right.
and
So-
2014, 7 years?
So this is the neat part.
It's gonna
Oh my
keep
gosh, yeah,
going.
thanks Dave. Thanks for tilting the AI application. Now we got state primary.
We're done voting. Wow.
So these are all of the documents that had access to get that information. So, in closing,
We
I'd
get to vote tomorrow.
like to thank the board for their indulgement here. This is something that I'm passionate about. This isn't, what we just tested there is not something that's available. It's actually running on my laptop. But I hope it'll give some insight into the excitement around AI and that it's not the devil as some many think. And hopefully we can find ways to bring information for the town of Lancaster closer to the voting residents. So, thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for working hard on that presentation, Jason.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you. It's very interesting. There we are.
Thank you.
All right, next meeting, Alex is going to present on a topic of her choice.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much. I look forward to doing more with them, seeing more applications for us. All right, next on our agenda is setting a closing time for our annual town meeting warrant. We had initially discussed a long time ago having the warrant fully closed by April 1, which would suggest that we close it on Friday, the 29th of March at noon time.
So moved.
Okay. Alrighty then. Is there a second?
Second for discussion?
Okay, is there discussion?
Yes. So, are we hoping to publish and send, working back from the date of our meeting? I'm assuming we're publishing and sending the
This
warrant?
date keeps with the budget book schedule, right? So I think that does allow that.
And allows them to.
And it allows, I didn't know if we were still,
Yep. So it's consistent with what
It's
we've been
consistent.
planning since whenever it was.
I understand, but it was just, are we spending that money? Do we want to do it this year? Is a less difficult year than last year? So I didn't know if we were still committed to that. I think it's a good idea. I support spending the money to do so. But, so we're doing that. So counting backwards, I think I would like to see, before we finalize that budget, and I don't know if that has to be done,
Budget's next.
I understand, but it affects the warrant and the mailing and everything else, so just trying to work out the logistics here. Are we going to have another meeting with the finance committee?
We already finalized
go
the
over.
budget.
Well, we
And-
talked
and-
about
and
it, we
the-
did
and
say,
the expenditures for this are in the previous year's budget.
I understand, but we had talked about that this was, if, at our budget hearing that we voted, we had said, if nothing else changes, if we talk about things, this is, are you comfortable with the budget? There was sort of a, but I
Well, so we're
think-
gonna get updates on the budget next, so we'll keep getting updates on the budget until
Okay, so
the
let me,
meeting.
so this is about the time of closing the warrant that I'm talking about?
Right.
So let me please finish that thought. So the thought is that I think we need to have a budget discussion with the finance committee to talk about, to review what we've done. There may not be many changes, but I think my interpretation of that meeting was that we would look at the draft, we'd look at the budget, we would look at the capital. I understand you have a different understanding.
We voted a different thing. It wasn't an understanding. We voted to approve the budget.
Yes, with
In that
with caveats and asterisks involved. And,
Which were, if there were significant changes in the budget, we'd revisit, but there haven't been.
no, there haven't, well, no, there haven't been, but I think that there's still questions in talking with people Dick Trussell, I was talking about,
That's- yeah.
outstanding, so I think it would benefit us to do that.
But does that impact, can we have the conversation in the budget? This is about closing the warrant. Do you want to change the date? We can,
No,
okay, so then.
I'm just
can-
saying I would like to put that date at a date so we can allow for that meeting to happen and
Well, we're-
inform the warrant if we need to.
In the motion you just seconded, the date is March 29th.
I understand that.
Are you
Just want to make sure that
comfortable?
we can inform it. Yes, and there are some items that we can talk about, whether or not we have time to add them or can. So when would be a good time to talk? We haven't talked about items yet?
Sorry if I was interrupting. Why have those conversations not already happened?
That's a good question. We haven't had any other discussion. We had the one roundtable meeting, that's it.
So I do respect your question and your comment. I need to keep us focused on the motion that's on the table, which is about this timing. We're going to discuss the budget. It's the next item on the agenda. We can have all kinds of conversations about that. But due respect, are there any further discussion about the timing of the closing of the annual town meeting warrant? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Aye. All opposed?
No, I would like to, I have no problem closing, but now if we have some flexibility as to what we can, and we will address that with budget and other items.
It's a yes or no? On whether or not we're closing on March
Yes.
29th at noon. Okay. The ayes have it, 3-0. Okay, next item, budget update. Before, Kate, you give your update, I'd like to see, are there general things, in case it's not in Kate's update, that either of you have that she can perhaps adjust her presentation to include them if, or would you want to wait until after her presentation and ask questions?
Letting her present would be
Okay, Kate, take it away.
best.
You okay with that? Jason?
yeah, absolutely. Although it's paper though, I don't know.
It's the same
You
paper.
held up your book proudly.
So there isn't a whole lot that has changed, other than a very pointed and pleasant conversation with the Neshoba Regional School Committee, which at the time that we went over the budget with the Finance Committee, we were still waiting on their final number. The number that they came up with, backing out the debt, was somewhere in the neighborhood of $90,000 off from our budget, which is good because we had initially thought it was 1.3 million off. So
90,000.
We're pretty darn close, and they're still working on that. So on the 13th, they'll be going over their final number, which the school committee will vote to hopefully accept. And that would be the final number that we put in. The Minuteman number came in somewhere in the neighborhood of $20,000 less than what we put in. So
That's good.
my understanding of the vote was that the number that you all had gone over, which was a 36,577 decrease in municipal non-school expenses, was we weren't going to go any higher than that.
Right.
But we would have the ability to go lower than that. And we've had a couple more, can you let somebody? We've had a couple of more things that have come out that ebbs and flows, $2,000 more in an assessment for health, $20,000 less for Minuteman. So I think you'll find that the number that we're throwing around is actually going to be a greater decrease, but not a windfall, somewhere in the neighborhood of probably $50,000 to $60,000 decrease in municipal expenses. And the other thing that we will need to discuss is...
Which just
I'm sorry.
tracking that at home means about a $30,000 delta given the school increase, yes? Currently, I know they're still working on it.
Yes, or about 40 cents to the average household
Got it.
increase. One of the other things that plays a big factor into this is our general fund, well, all of the free cash, but the one of particular note is our general fund, which has been certified at 2.68 million, which is the highest, which we were able, thank you to our finance departments, the highest in 29 years that we were able to do that. So I think we have turned a good financial corner and the ability to have a more robust discussion about how to use that to lower the tax burden, particularly as it equates to the first debt payment as that comes up in 2025. Will be something that's forthcoming. The only other thing that's come up between the meeting and this meeting that is relatively substantial is the memorial school money that was put aside for the engineering and, well, it was an assessment and a sort of an idea of what could be. Since then, the land trust has come forward with that federal grant that requires an amount of money to be put into it that doesn't need to be reoccurring, but there does need to be some funds put in for that. I'm yet to get something back on whether ARPA could be used for that, because the idea is that it's committed by December 31st of 25. But the idea of having ARPA cover one of the other programs and then have the free cash be moved to something for the land trust wasn't on the agenda because it wasn't realized at the time that the capital plan came together. And I know that this is a conversation that the finance committee would like to have as well. So whether that's two separate meetings or joint is one thing. But the other thing is that somewhere between $90,000 and $110,000 is what it's going to cost to do the assessment of the memorial school. And while I think that that's a worthwhile endeavor, I question whether we would be ready when the study produces whatever the highest and best idea is to move forward when we have the other building here, we have the library that's already further along in the feasibility, and clearly the full realization of the debt payment. So I would ask that the board consider, although reluctantly, if you really want to commit that 100 and something thousand, given that we have that grant program.
Yeah.
And I don't know as if we're going to have money, certainly in the next couple of years, to allocate for that before any of the other buildings.
Right, and you want to do the engineering study as close to the time they're ready to do construction as possible.
I mean, I would think so, because it will just deteriorate further.
Right, okay. You're not asking us to consider that at this meeting.
No, I'm just, as you consider the capital plan, that was one of them. And if you remove the spending of that, you have the ability to reallocate that to another.
Those resources elsewhere, yep, got it. Okay,
So those would be the only, so that's capital, which, certainly is part of the budget, but, and then the enterprise budget, we're waiting on a couple of corrections that I've brought to the attention of the Public Works Commission, so it is unclear to me whether they would come as a board or whether they have somebody to come and present either to Select Board and Finance Committee together, or two separate, or just Finance, so
Sure.
I'm waiting on that.
Sounds good. And what's important about the budget is the number we have at 3:29 at noon is changeable. We just can amend it up on the floor of the town meeting
Correct.
to make adjustments.
It won't be worse,
Right, exactly. That's the most important.
maybe more costly.
Right. All right. Questions for Kate relative to the budget? Alex?
Well, thanks for all the good news, because everybody always likes less money. When you said the school's number came in around 90, backing out the debt, right?
Yes.
What is the debt? How does that impact us?
So we don't have the exact figures yet because they're still working, but I was carrying, and we're carrying the number of about 895,000 for the first payment. So a little under $1 million.
Okay, so that's all figured in.
Well, it's
a large-
excluded, so
I know
it-
it's,
yeah.
I know it's excluded.
So it's
but-
excluded from the rate, so yes. So the number that they're carrying right now for their Neshoba, backing out that debt, is about $1,611,961. I guess that's not about, that's exactly, which is $90,067 higher than what we were carrying, which was $15,921,894.
Okay,
And so that isn't their final number, that's where we are when we did not only the meeting with all three finance committees, but also at our town administrator meeting. And each community expressed thank yous to the school for hearing us and understanding that, we want to give the moon and the stars, but we also want to be reasonable. And they came down quite a bit. They've done a lot of pencil sharpening. So I have reason to believe 90 isn't the end, but it certainly will likely be higher than the 15,921, but not by a lot.
so when they do the debt, are we going to have the future projections?
Yes, yeah, yep.
Okay. The enterprise, you're talking about the water enterprise, the
Correct.
DPW and so on. I think that would be important to get people to get together personally with the finance committee and with the DPW. We do have that law in the books that we are supposed to look at their plan and approve it, and they're certainly going to be spending money that they need to be spent. But it's a large, while they have a fairly decent revenue, they're planning on spending a lot of money according to that plan, so I think it'd be helpful to talk about it. The Forest Legacy, the reimbursement, I heard that you're looking to make sure that we could use the money to reimburse that. At our last meeting, Mr. Lidstone made a presentation about,
Yep.
yeah, what was it roughly, what was the number, was like 100,000?
About 100, yeah, it was about 100,000. So I think the plan to ensure that what I don't want is to have any bit of it left by December 31st of '25 and then risk losing it. So the idea would be to have that covered by free cash general fund appropriation and to move something that was going to be funded by that to ARPA. Because that would make sure that the money remains in
Okay.
perpetuity.
There is an urgency on this. We've talked about some of the other stuff because I know that this grant is at the end of its life cycle for us and highly competitive, unlikely we're going to get it again. So to preserve for something that essentially is a $100,000 loan, the town benefits greatly from. I do think trying to focus our attention to that is important. You talked about the study, the RFP that we put out. I guess we're talking about that in greater detail at another time, or is this the time to talk about that?
If it's relative to the budget, it's time to talk about it. If it's not, then no.
We've had, in my long tenure in town government. We've had numerous studies on that building and other buildings. And while I think studies are necessary and beneficial, and obviously we voted to put out the RFP.
I mean, the engineering studies that we were talking about?
Yes, the RFP for the engineering study. My frustration has been that when we pay $90,000, $100,000, which is a lot of money for a study, they go stale. There is a time frame. Codes change, people change. We have boxes of studies on that building sitting probably probably getting flooded in the lower part of town hall. So unless we're willing to commit whatever that study provides us with.
I mean, I think that's the exact point Kate was making,
Yes.
which is why at
So-
a future meeting, we're gonna discuss
Well, that's
whether or not
why,
we're going.
that's why we're discussing it, because she brought it up, and I wanted to offer my
Right.
informed opinion now. There you go. And also my historical perspective is I don't want to waste $90,000 or $100,000. It's the biggest.
Great. We will have a more in-depth conversation about that at a future meeting, because it's on the agenda today.
Yeah, and I think just for that, I think the thought would be to perhaps bring you and the finance committee back a version 2 with some slight modifications to the capital. So you can see what it looks like with no changes versus what it looks like with version 2, and then you all can decide.
Yes. That's what another thing that was mentioned in the capital budget, so I gather that comes under capital plan, which comes under budget, or did, was just making sure that we secured enough to stabilize the old town hall. So
That is
that's,
still in there.
That's.
I know it's in there, I just think we'll have to have the discussion about if it's enough. That was my concern. It's an expensive project.
That's what we have now, yeah. It is an expensive project,
It's
but
probably not enough. It's enough to, just from conversations, it's enough to make sure that there's no further deterioration. It's not enough to repair completely what has already been done.
So regarding the budget, and lastly, the 2.468 million, can you break down,
2.68.
I'm sorry.
You shorted us.
Sorry, it sounds much better, almost 2.27.
yes, almost 2
It's
seconds.
almost 2.7. Can you just break that down for us so we can see where the,
Yeah, so
How many-
attached to my email was the breakdown.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in the neighborhood of 9 pages. I can go through it if you want, but I don't
no,
know
I
if you
just
want
think
to
it's
listen
great
to me
for,
for
no,
9 pages.
I think it's
No.
great. We could do that at that joint meeting. I think it's just good for people to understand what.
And
how-
this free cash certification goes into the appendix of the budget book, so
Yeah, no, I
everyone can see it.
I actually even had read it, but I
Frame
think
it.
it's good for people to understand it, because I'm sure question will arise, so we'll go through that in the other meeting.
Any questions on the budget?
No, I'm really grateful for Kate's attention to detail as we close this out. It's been a fantastic process.
Okay, thank you, Kate. Next item on the agenda is Verizon equipment modification.
Yeah, so that is really kind of perfunctory. Let me just pull that up. So the terms of the lease agreement for one of their cell towers is that you all have to approve changes. And so the regulatory team asked the town to update their FAA filing to show the coordinates of the tower to read more accurately, and this was in the packet, 422750.60 north
Right.
by 71402319 west. In the interest of full disclosure, I don't even know how to chart
It's
that.
right over there.
But no, and I don't know how to chart that to say exactly, like, that's the exact coordinates, so we took their chart that was certified by an engineer, which was sent to you all as accurate.
Indeed.
But nothing's changed on it, nor has the location, so it seems that they were a few degrees off, and they would like to be precise.
Is there action that needs to be taken by us, or
Just the approval of the coordinates.
the new coordinates?
And the file, which
Right.
are the coordinates because the tower did not move
Okay.
for the FAA filing.
So I would offer a motion to approve the Verizon coordinate and amendments to the lease as requested by Verizon.
1053 Main Street.
For 1053 Main Street.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, 300.
Thank you.
Well done, Verizon. Someone write those down now, so we don't, everyone remembers the exact coordinates. All right, next on the agenda.
Town council is here, Mr.
Oh, they
Chair.
are, okay, all
Should
right.
you,
I want to I want to, just to read ahead, because we're 45 minutes in. Item number 5 on administration budget and policy is being pulled by the petitioner, Tom Seidenberg, so that won't be getting considered. Next up, we're going to talk about Lancaster Historical Society, and then I think everything else is still under consideration, right? Yes, okay. We've got some licenses, appointments to make, and resignations to acknowledge before executive session. Okay. Ivrea is here.
sure if you want to unmute.
Town council is here somewhere.
Probably can unmute herself.
Somewhere. There she is. Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hi there. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Fantastic. All right, so we are here to review correspondence from the Lancaster Historical Society and have a discussion on the ownership of historical assets and damage to the Prescott Building. Do you want to take us through what we're in there for us?
Yeah, so I think that we should discuss the damage to the building in executive session. The matter that we'll discuss there is whether it's appropriate to bring suit against the Lancaster Historical Society. So we'll reserve that discussion for executive session.
Sounds good.
I just wanted to bring this board up to speed a little bit about the discussions we've been having with the society. So there was some back and forth where we were trying to figure out ownership of various items. The society suggested a meeting with members of the town to kind of hash all of this out. The town has agreed to a meeting. We sent correspondence to that effect last week, and we're just waiting to secure a date. But our hope is that we can sit down and have a productive discussion with the society to work through the outstanding items. So I think that's it for right now. I know it's not a very deep or substantive update, but we're hopeful that we can make productive progress at a meeting.
Okay, getting closer.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, Steve?
I said getting closer. Hopefully, to resolving things.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, did you have, I know you're the.
No, I don't know
Historical
if anybody has any questions
Yeah.
or if anybody would like additional information. I mean, I think everybody from the town really wants to put this behind us, but we do have to, honor our commitment to the town and making sure we're working in the town's best interest. So that's what I'm trying to do as a, voted by this board as that liaison. And I'm grateful for Ivrea and the work that Kate's done and lots of folks have done. So appreciate the patience, but I don't know if anybody on the board had any questions or wanted to go through anything.
I do not. Alex, I'm sensing you do. Just because
I
you
always-
inhaled deeply, so I'm assuming.
Cleansing breath. I always do.
All right.
Hi, Avery, up over my shoulder there. Thank you. I think that I'm welcome the Historical Society's request to sit down. I think that's it could be a really productive way to do it. In order to make this the most productive meeting, I think setting the scope and then maybe having some tensions are high. So I think having some sort of neutral parties to facilitate that. I don't have anybody
Yeah,
in
so-
mind.
Yeah.
I don't have anybody
Sorry.
in mind.
So,
Alex, the meeting is set.
yeah.
If you have advice, you can give it to me as the liaison, but the meeting is set. My tensions aren't high. I don't have high tensions. So if there's other people that you're talking to, because I'm not talking to anybody else, but I don't have any tensions high. I don't think Kate has any tensions high, and we're just looking to bring this to closure. So yeah, but the meeting is set, and that's already been done.
Well, I'm glad it's set. I do think that I think personalities I think this has become more than it should be.
Why do you think that?
Because good volunteers or?
The Historical
I-
Society is not
I know the
volunteers in
society
town.
and the commission are different.
Very
And if we have, for example, if we have artifacts that nobody claims or everybody claims, how do we split that baby? I think just having somebody who is
Well,
neutral would be.
I would just say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Avery, they engage counsel on their end about matters, so we have our counsel engage with them to work with interested parties to resolve exactly those questions. But I don't know that
Yeah,
it's.
that's correct. So I can share my sequence of events, which was meeting with the Historical Society to attempt to work this through. I ended up, I just happened to notice that all of a sudden a lawyer was being included in correspondence. I was not made aware that a lawyer was being included in correspondence, and it just happened. And that's when I worked with Kate and Ivrea to work in the best interest of the town to make sure that our best interests are kept. So yeah, I mean,
sure
you
you're-
haven't asked me any questions previously, so I don't know where you're getting your information from, but it's not from me.
I'm sure the intentions are pure. So right now, I'm asking you a question, for example. So say there is a copy of Marvin's history, okay, that the society owns. They say they own, they have some sort of documentation that we may like or not like. And and then the commission, or the town wants it, says they own it. How do you come to resolution there?
So that scenario doesn't exist yet. I can
It
tell
might.
you that everything, I believe that everything that there's been proof that is owned not by the town has been given back, right? Everything. The only issues we have right now are thoughts that things are owned without proof. Now, I'm not attributing, everybody needs to hear me when I say I'm not attributing malicious intent, okay? It very well may be the societies, but you know, it would be like someone walking in your home and saying, I gave that to your mom, and I gave that to your mom, and then you're going, well, what's your proof? And they're like, well, I did it. You can't just give those things to that person, right? You have to act what's in the best interest of your family. So all parties are working very hard to get this resolved, but it's not simple, right? It's not as simple as, well, that is ours because we say it is. You got to go through the documentation. We have reams of documentation, and we need to make sure that we're working on the best interest of the town.
And I would like to say that kudos to Jason, Avery, Kate, everybody who's worked on this, because they've cleared the decks of a lot of items. This was started with a large number of items, and is down to, that's why I said, you know, we're nearing the end, because there is a list of items, a finite list of items that, to Jason's point, doesn't have any proof that it belongs to anyone other than the town, and so
That's my point
they will go through.
exactly.
They will go through those with council, and if they can prove to the acceptable agreement of all
Yeah,
parties.
so to Steve's point, there's a couple phases of this, right? So this what if stuff is very, it's probably not productive, but I'm gonna try to answer, right?
I haven't even.
You
gotten my
asked, you
question.
said, what happens-
I haven't gotten a question out. Yeah, you
Let
answered
me
the
finish
first one.
answering the
Yeah,
question.
talk about
Okay.
Marvin's history.
So the
Yes.
one part of this is, and we're really grateful to have the Lancaster Historical Commission as a partner in this. If something we believe is the town's, but nobody wants it, I can guarantee you I'm not going to be in the way, okay? But it can't be that's mine, I'm taking it. It needs to be, we're gonna work together to figure out a path forward. So that is I don't wanna call it three parties, because the commission is part of the town, but it's the town, it's the commission and the records they have, it's society and the records they have, and then figuring out an amicable path forward. But I wanna go on record that, you know, the lawyer, there's lawyers involved because of actions taken by another party, not because actions the town took.
Well, no, I mean, we have a lawyer, they have a lawyer.
We engaged our council after they engaged theirs.
Both parties engaged lawyers, and I
But it's
don't
important
look at when.
But it's
the-
important to indicate timing.
Okay, you know, I thank Ivrea for her help. I think it's been well, I know she has served us well. I do not know when the engagement orders were for their lawyer. I know we have town council right along, so let's not nitpick about that.
Well,
You were-
that's not fair. That's
Yeah.
not fair to me. You were
Yeah.
copied on 6 letters from attorneys relative to a claim against me, and I'm your employee.
That is something, we're talking about that different issue, right?
That's when
Well, it's-
We're talking about a different
they
issue,
are-
right?
Well,
I'm talking about the
if this is,
ownership of,
hold on a second. If this is about the Historical Commission / Society, then it's all one big issue. If we're talking specifically about what Jason and Avery are talking about, which is going through the remaining items in one simple, hopefully very productive meeting, then that is a
so
slightly
what I've
separate thing.
gotten, what I've
But
gotten to, and I do want
you
to
have
be.
been on, you've
But-
been
Yes, I've
copied
been
on,
well
you have been
informed
copied on everything.
what Kate has done. I have not seen a list of items that I know of, unless I missed it, and that's possible, that what the code, the low-hanging fruit that we have, you said the easiest.
That's all been resolved. It's all
The low-hanging
gone.
fruit is gone,
Yeah.
is split up, right? The stuff that remains now, and the reason that things I feel are contentious, and it seems to be if you read the newspaper, that kind of thing, is that the things that are not clearly identifiable as far as ownership goes, that is where the rub is. If otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here having this
Right.
discussion. So what I was saying is, to that end, the things that this town goes back to 1653, and we value our history, and there's a lot that may be difficult to define who owns it. And I personally do not want to be involved in that, but I think that having neutral parties on both sides, and every side, would be helpful, and that is what my
Thank you for that
request was.
feedback. I do want to say that it sounds like you're getting some information from, I think you said the newspaper. They haven't contacted me. They haven't gotten any
Okay.
information from me or the town, so I would encourage you.
If there's no
haven't
conspiracy,
talked
I haven't talked
I haven't
to,
talked about it.
people keep on asserting that I've talked to Heather or something, I have not.
No one said that.
You
know. No
one said
stated that
that.
it's contentious.
No, I understand
No
And
one
I'm
said that.
I've
trying to
heard it
figure
before.
out why it's contentious, because it's not for me.
Okay.
All right. So, Avery, do you feel you've reviewed the correspondence from the Historical Society to the extent we can outside of executive session?
Yes, I just did want to make one point, is that while there was a list of items and we worked through that list, there is a few identified items that the society believes they are the proper owners of, but they are claiming that they have other items stored in our building that are still theirs. And we've asked for, since January 11, a list of those items, and we still do not have it. We're hopeful that they will provide us with a list before the meeting so that that meeting can be as productive as possible. So, you know, the fact that we don't have a list yet, we can't like go through it one by one. It would be very helpful if we could get a list before the meeting.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
When's the meeting?
We don't know. We responded last week that we would be willing to meet, and we're waiting to hear back from
That's what she
their
said.
attorney.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Jason said it was
No, she-
scheduled, I'm sorry.
We're working on schedule.
It will move forward. We're just waiting for the dates from the society.
Great, thank you, Avery. All right, as I mentioned, the next item on the agenda has been pulled. I know we're not at new business, but members have in front of them a piece of new business just merely to acknowledge. We've received requests from the Kalen Farms, Keith Copley, asking us if the town wishes to exercise their right of first refusal on a plot of land. We're not considering it at this meeting, but I just want to mention and announce that we received it. It was accepted today, March 4th. And so we will certainly be discussing that at a future date. Appointments and resignations. Sadly, we acknowledge and thank Marcia Jacobowitz and Karen Silverthorne for their service to the town on the Historical Commission. Both women have done fantastic work, and we are grateful to them for that. And both of their resignations are effective now. And for appointments, we have one appointment to the Historical Commission and two to the Community Preservation Committee to consider. And Alex, is want, we have the candidate for the Historical Commission is here. If you'd like to ask Kendra Dickinson any questions.
Thank you for coming, Kendra.
Any questions for Kendra?
Kendra, thank you for coming. Historical Commission, I think, as we just talked about, we're blessed with a rich history, and I'm sure that your tenacity and advocacy will be will be very beneficial to them. Is there anything special that you hope to accomplish or that we can help you with, should you be appointed?
I think to respond, you're going to at least have to come forward or at least stand up and speak loudly.
Well, speaking loudly has never been an issue. So Kendra Dickinson, 402 Oatman Way. I think, as I expressed at our meeting last week, one of my biggest hopes is to engage the youth in Lancaster in learning about our rich history. George was able to participate in some forums regarding a different matter, and the feedback I got, Regina also was there, and some of the feedback I had gotten since I couldn't be there was an overall lack of knowledge of Lancaster's history with some of our youth, and I believe that it's really important to keep that going forward. I can't control things on a national, state, or even district level, but we can definitely figure out ways to make the information attractive and more available to the youth in town. So that's one of my hot buttons.
That's excellent.
Do you have any questions?
So I've been at a couple meetings with Kendra, and she's been a good resource. I think she brings, yet another set of eyes to the Historical Commission. So I'm looking forward to having her at our very boring yet exciting meetings.
Thank you.
Fantastic. With that, I have no questions other than to say thank you for your willingness to serve, which is not a question, it's a statement. All right, is there a motion to appoint Kendra Dickinson for member to the Historical Commission with a term to expire June 30th, 2024. It's to fill the unexpired term, sorry. Is there a second?
Second.
We just had discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
You will have a short term, but I'm sure impactful. And then
Well, then you just have to renew my
there's
seat.
reappointment, yes. The key is to get something half done before your deadline. Then we have to reappoint you so that you can keep going. All right. Community Preservation Committee, Housing Authority and I think this is just reaffirming because the Historical Commission has sent a representative and the Housing Authority has sent a representative. So Marilyn Largy is the Housing Authority representative that has been appointed to the Community Preservation Committee, and Amy Brown from the Historical Commission to the Community Preservation Committee. So I don't believe there's any role we take other than accepting or ratifying their, yes, Kate, ratifying their appointments?
Ratification only.
Ratification only, so thank you for your willingness to serve and for your appointing authorities. Is there a motion to ratify the appointments of Marilyn Largy and Amy Brown to the Community Preservation Committee?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion about the ratification that we do?
No, I
Okay.
thank them, like you, I thank them both for their service.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Next item up for bid, licenses and permits. Madam Clerk, take it away.
I will offer a motion to approve the rental application for use of the town green made by the Thayer Memorial Library to be held August 3rd, August 10th, August 17th at 10:30 a.m. Educational presentations about wildlife with exotic animals by Animal Adventures.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Okay.
I'll offer another motion to approve the application, the rental application for the town green made by Thayer Memorial Library and the Friends of Thayer Memorial Library for their summer concert series, July 11th, 18th, 25th, August 1st, and 8th, 2024, from 6:30 until 8 o'clock
PM.
PM, yeah.
Second.
Early.
All right, any discussion other than we're very excited for concerts on the town green? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
I'll offer a motion to approve the special one-day liquor license for beer and wine from the First Church of Lancaster for their fellowship fundraising St. Patrick's Day dinner, which is coming up soon, March 16th, 2024, from 5 to 8 p.m. in case you wanted a beer for breakfast.
St. Patrick's Day. Weirder things have happened. Is there a second?
Second for the purpose of discussion.
Oh, purpose of discussion. Oh, boy, here we go.
Just like to say how delicious the corned beef is
Ah,
at the First Church. I've attended it a bit now, and I think I'm still digesting from last year. But I will be prepped for this coming year. It's a fantastic event. I'd encourage everybody to attend. Thank you.
sounds good. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, next.
Well, you get to attend another great event at the First Church if you approve
Oh,
this.
yeah, the B run.
The bee runs to approve the Community Fellowship Fundraising Bullfinch Bee Run. I'm not sure what we're approving.
I think it's use of the town green.
We'll say use of the town green. May 4th, 2024, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Okay, so a second.
Second for the purpose of discussion.
Oh, boy, he's done the B run, we get it.
Hold up.
Very busy
Hold up.
He
bee.
probably won the B run.
No, I'm sending
Lidded.
a message to those finished 1 through 6th. I'm coming for you. I finished 7th. I'm very upset by that.
We had
Always
this
the
challenge-
wonderful
didn't we have-
public
Coming
servant.
for you.
Didn't we have a
Challenging
challenge?
people.
I think we had a challenge before.
I had to wash one car. One student in Lancaster beat me, that was it.
Our house is along the route, so if you just want to stop by and hang out, it's fine, as long as you're
I won't be
not.
saying what Steve was doing in the front yard
That'll
when
be
I ran
slowing
by
him down. He'll be washing more cars.
at 8 a.m.
I had a water stand. Anyway, all right, it was the day of the King Charles's coronation last year. Anyway, all right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
National holiday for
For
another
Great Britain, I
nation.
suppose, yeah.
But, okay.
All right, next item up.
Okay.
I think we're doing town
I-
green too, I suppose.
Well, this is, town green, and sometimes they come back for liquor. So
Here's
also
hoping.
from the First
Here's
Church,
hoping.
here's the First Church of Lancaster. The event's called an area-wide craft fair, but I think it's otherwise known as the Horseshoe
Horseshoe.
Fair. Right, to be held October 7th, 2024, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Second.
Okay. He's
Wait a
not-
minute,
he doesn't
discussion?
He doesn't run the horseshoe fair, he's not gonna, okay.
I might be allergic to horses, so.
Okay.
I'm allergic to bees, but I'll still have my water stand. All right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Okay. Communications. Yes. Well,
Could I address the select board?
Unusual, but-
It's unusual. Can I ask the purpose of your addressing? We don't have public comment on this agenda.
Public comment, I'll wait.
Oh,
No, we don't have.
We don't
say
have it on the
We don't
agenda.
have it, so is it about this event?
is it about the horseshoe fair? Because if you want to talk about that, that's great. Is it about something that's
It's about the
timely?
license fee.
The license fee. Can we put that on the agenda for another meeting?
Of course.
Okay.
Thank you.
My guess is you think it's too high? Okay. Rarely people come and say, that fee is just too darn low. Unless you're on this side of the table, and then some people think that. But, okay, but thank you, George, sorry. We anticipated the meeting going much longer, and so I'm not sure what's going on there.
Susan's.
I just want to point out, I think the date's wrong, October 7th, it should be the 5th. So I just want to, before, I know you guys
okay.
just approved it, but because Saturday is the 5th, and that's when they do the book sale and the horseshoe fair the same day, and the 7th of October is a Monday.
So I will
just-
withdraw, I'll offer to withdraw my motion. Is that possible at this point?
I didn't want it to go by and then I bring
Thank
up
you.
another
I
meeting,
appreciate it,
that's
I
all.
appreciate it.
I move
I'll entertain a
to approve
Amend
the
that.
First Church, well, did we already vote on it?
Yes, we did.
Very
We
well.
So
did.
move to approve the First Church of Lancaster event-wide craft fair fundraising, horseshed fair, event details to be held on October 5th instead of the 7th, 2024, time 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Thanks, Susan. Okay, is there a second?
There's a second.
Aye.
Aye. And do we need to rescind that last one?
No,
Well,
they can have it
no,
on
but
both.
This
we'll need to
supersedes.
update because it's written
written
as
here.
the 7th.
On their application?
Application?
Ah,
So,
well, thank goodness for vigilant citizens. and sometimes typos.
We will fix it.
Fix it, fantastic.
I'm assuming that's correct, right? It's not on a Monday. Okay.
It's definitely on
Just so you're
Saturdays,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely on Saturdays.
I got you.
All right, so we have 9 weeks until the annual town meeting from today. I would ask, understanding lives get in the way, and work gets in the way, and everything gets in the way. But I ask my colleagues if we can do our best to try to set what the remaining meetings of this board will be between now and the annual town meeting. We will, of course, have a select board meeting the night of the annual town meeting, but it will be a brief, somewhat perfunctory one. We are currently scheduled to have a meeting on March the 18th. And then if we kept with our normal schedule, it would be the 1st and the 15th of April. And then the 6th, which is the day of the annual town meeting. So I currently am fine with the 18th, 1st, and 15th, but I want to be respectful of, this is a 3-person board. So does anyone have any problems with attending the 18th, the 1st, or the 15th?
So 15th, is that a holiday? It's Passover.
Oh, is that
But
Patriots Day?
is it Patriots Day?
It's Patriots Day, yeah. So I do have a problem attending that.
Yeah,
because
I was gonna say.
It'll be closed.
Yes.
So we would typically do the 16th, yes? Huh?
I think that may have changed on the 18th. I will follow up on that.
Okay.
I originally had a conflict on the 18th, I believe that, March 18th, I believe that has
Okay.
since been.
So currently we're good on the 18th, good on the 18th of March?
Yes.
So the next meeting currently, we reserve the right to adjust, will be Monday, March 18th. April 1st, let's
Is that a
take,
thing? Like, isn't that bad karma? April 1st?
well, so as long as no one takes us at our word and what we're saying, because it's gonna all be a big
Why
joke.
start now?
April 1st is Easter Monday?
Easter Monday, yeah.
Is that an issue?
Yeah.
Not for me, we host Easter, everyone will be gone home by then.
There's no holiday, is there, the Friday? that we have?
There's no holiday, Easter Monday, no, yeah. He will have risen, if that's your faith, and moved about his business. Okay.
About his, moved about his business?
Move the question or
Sorry,
point of
it's
order
on
or
his,
something, I
yeah,
don't know.
sorry, anyway.
Anything but that.
Taught me are
I
just,
was almost a monk, I can say that. Anyway, all right. So the 15th is Patriots Day. I don't want to suggest we move to the 22nd to get the ire of the planning board. So does the 16th work? I may be traveling on the 16th.
I'm good with 16th.
16th works fine for me.
Okay, well, actually, no, I know I'm traveling on, I don't know why I just said.
So don't do the 16th.
Yeah, so we can't do the 16th.
Or you can zoom in.
17th? Or are you remote
I know,
travel?
I leave on the evening of the 16th and I go back to the 19th.
Is that the week before?
The week before,
Well, this week before, we hit planning board and
No, I mean, any day that week.
do.
13th?
13th is a Saturday.
On March 3rd? Oh, sorry, I'm looking at March.
when are you back, the 19th?
10th?
The 19th or 20th. We could do, planning boards at 7 p.m., yes? We could try to do a 5:30 to 7 agenda
Which day?
on the 22nd.
I could swing that.
Can you swing the 22nd? That gives us only, I can't do that. Sorry, this is how the sausage gets made, everybody. This is,
my
The
husband
real
would call
soup.
this a soup sandwich.
all right, how about the 23rd?
23rd.
23rd at 6 p.m.?
Yeah, sure.
23rd at 6 p.m.?
Be fine.
You were very
Yeah.
accommodating.
All right, 23rd at 6 p.m. All right, so the next meetings of the select board before our annual town meeting are the 18th of March, the 1st of April, the 23rd of April, and then we will have a meeting just prior to the beginning of the annual town meeting on May the 6th. Fantastic. Okay, and before we adjourn for executive session, I'll remind folks tomorrow is presidential primary. Be sure, if you haven't already voted yet, be sure to get out and cast your vote. It's the most important thing you can do as an American, is have a voice in who your leaders are.
That's true.
All right, now I
Steve?
will entertain a motion to enter into executive session.
Steve, before we go to that.
Yes.
I know we had intended to talk about some new information that came, or some reports that came to us. Can we get that, the Keating permits on some of the, or the Keating reports, not
Oh,
on maybe the
the
18th?
time bond, or the time bond reports?
Yeah, maybe on the 18th or something like that, or one
I
of
don't
these?
see why not.
That's what I had it.
Perfect.
Thank you,
Awesome.
thank you.
And we put, George, if you can make sure we talk to Kate, well,
I gotcha.
perfect, nice.
And capital, you can figure that out with Kate, but if we talk with the finance committee about
Yes.
whatever.
Sounds good. Okay. Now, is there a motion to enter into executive session?
I'll offer a motion to enter into executive session, subject to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, for the following. There's 3 issues. Discussion of regarding strategy with respect to litigation in the matter of the Lancaster Historical Society pursuant to 21A, Section 3, and to conduct strategy session in preparation for negotiations for non-union personnel regarding the police and fire department pursuant to Section 21A, Section 2, and third, to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health rather than professional competence of an individual pursuant to Section 21A, Section 1, not to reconvene in open session.
Was that not to reconvene?
Not to
Not.
reconvene.
Second.
All right.
Can I make a friendly amendment? Sorry.
I
For the
don't know if you can, but you can suggest one.
Okay, I would suggest that for the first item to go into executive session relative to the litigation, that there be declaration by the chair that it would be detrimental to discuss the matter in open session, and therefore we need to discuss it in executive session.
So I move to amend the motion I to read as discussion regarding strategy with respect to litigation in the matter of the Lancaster Society pursuant to Section 21A3, as the chair believes there is a detriment to the bargaining or negotiating or how,
Detrimental to
What
discuss
you
in
said.
open.
that stuff.
Litigating.
That goes to discuss
What you
in open
said.
session.
Thank you. All
Or
right.
second to the amendment?
It was actually a chair's declaration, yes, second.
Yes, okay.
You agree that
We're going to vote on the amendment first.
Aye.
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 All right, now the underlying motion to go into executive session.
Aye.
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 Okay. Thank you, Sterling-Lancaster. Thank you.